hopefully we're finishing the best for the last here.
Oh, thank you.
With Peter Nissen, President Executive Producer for Gotham Studios, who introduced us yesterday in the MPI to something called the Goji Box. Peter, take it away. What is a Goji Box?
Thank you. Well, this right here is the Goji Box. It is very light. It is only 2 pounds and 5 inches by 5 inches by 2 inches. We aimed to make the lightest IFE server in the industry because we saw a need in this room for just about the lightest box that you can get, so that anyone, no matter what kind of airplane they have, can have a moving map, can have movies, etc. So we created this box, but our real product is what this box serves up. Now, with this box, you put this box in your airplane and then you get a full IFE experience. That means a moving map, that means movies, and that means something called geotainment, which is a guided tour of the land below. So here is what you get when you, let me put this over here, when you connect to the Wi-Fi on an aircraft with Goji. So this is a really cool moving map. We have some wonderful designers who have created just a map that we are so proud of. You can see this airplane is going from Florida up the East Coast. And along with this, it's a lot more than just a moving map. If you press this is points of interest. Now what this does is it follows your flight up the East Coast or wherever you happen to fly. And so here you're in Florida, and then later on you're going to be, there's Jacksonville, and as you keep going north, you get new pictures. So it's a guided tour of the land. Now you will get this both on your passenger devices as well as on the bulkhead screen, because we also have an HDMI out, so you can do both, right? So there is, let me see, how do I get rid of this? Okay, so back to our map here. Then there's something called Geo Radio. Now Geo Radio is actual audio that tells you stories about the places where you're flying. Okay. And so although you can't hear this here, they're talking about Orlando and then Charleston. Here's a story about St. Augustine, etc. Now these stories we get from various sources, including Public Radio International, the National Archives, and some of it is our own writers doing their own content. But the idea is that you get a full story. There are no breaks. It's not like every now and then you hear someone talk. These are full stories. And so it's like having someone right next to you telling you all about where you're flying. This content is top quality. We are really an entertainment company. Gotham Studios, I'm a TV producer. We started out as a video production company, and we still do that. We've won Emmys. We tell stories for a living. And so we really wanted to make this the best entertainment experience that we could have. So, so that's where we're coming from here. And then along with this, we also have, you have your movies and you have your music, et cetera, like any other IFE system. Okay. So that's what we're doing here.
Outstanding. What's your target market?
Target market right now is the light and business aircraft sector. We do want to get into commercial aircraft.
I'll bet.
We're starting right here because we see a lot of excitement in this market here, and a need for this as well.
Well, it's interesting that we've been conversing throughout the day about what's happening with aircraft utilization. They've always been something of a time machine, and the key is ultimately that you're spending so much time on them doing what you need to do to get from point A to point B, that in the meantime you're filling it with connectivity, you're filling it with things to entertain the people you're flying with, and making sure that you're just not letting any second go to waste.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting stuff, all things considered.
Yeah. Well, you talked about connectivity. This does not require any connectivity. It doesn't require any kind of internet access. all the content is on the box, but what happens is that when the airplane lands, this gets a signal, a weight on wheel signal. It knows that it's on the ground. There's an LTE modem in here, and it connects to the internet, and it sees what updates there might be.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
updates.
What kind of chores are involved in regards to installation and all of these aircraft?
Sure. It's a very easy installation. Really, all you do is bolt it down. There's at minimum 3 connections, at maximum maybe 5, to connect it to the AirLink data, to 28 volts DC, and then to Ethernet. It needs a Wi-Fi hotspot. So really, the installation, most of the installation installed is taking off your panels and running some wiring. So that may take a couple days of an existing maintenance event, but that's not 2 full days. It's if you already have off the panels, then this is just a few hours.
Where did this idea come from?
Well, I am a TV producer, and I was doing a lot, and a storyteller, and I was doing a lot of flying back and forth between LA and the East Coast. And
not being entertained?
And not being entertained. Well, I mean, my entertainment is looking out the window. I'm curious.
Yeah,
so
that works for a little while. After a while, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm kind of an idiot in an airplane because I'll look out and there's a smudge on the window because I want to know what's down there. I want to know what those crop circles are about, or what that river is, or why.
That was a part of all this that was kind of intriguing because you get this narrative. You're going from point A to point B, and there's a lot of things happening in between. But the narrative of a story about Savannah or a story about Jacksonville or something like that, it just sounds like a really cool idea to spend a little bit of time. And if you got to spend time looking out the window, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and that's the idea, is that it might be flyover country to some people. To me, it's just filled with a million stories, and I want to tell those stories. I want to find out what it is. It's great for kids. It's great for anyone who's curious about history or geology or geography.
In the business aviation community, the quality of the ride, which depends on so many different factors, is the hypercritical aspect of who buys the machine or who books the next ride or who's going to be part of a fractional or whatever the case may be. If you can do anything to increase the quality of the ride, that's mission one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And we see that
outside of getting there safely, little things like that,
Yes.
Details.
But these customers are clearly intelligent. I mean, this is a very learned, I think, clientele that we service here, and they're curious and they are fascinated by stuff like this.
Are you in the field yet?
No, we're not. This is our very first year.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we are.
I'd be fascinated to hear, once this gets fielded amongst enough aircraft, what kind of feedback you get.
Sure.
It's got to be it'll be educational, but two, I think you're going to find a lot of different implementations coming around just simply from this standpoint of people looking at this going, I wish it did this.
Thank you. And we will keep our ears open. Yeah. We're a small company. We're really nimble. We've got our ears open. We want to make this work to as many people as we can, and we can customize it as well for certain customers. We would love to to work with them and to give them what they want.
Now the narratives that you have established for the geographic areas, what's the limitation there? I mean, I would assume that can just keep getting expanded upon as you go forward.
Sure. Well, we have agreements with content providers like Public Radio International.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we want to keep that as fresh as we can. And so our content team will be swapping in and out as much as we can.
Perfect.
In terms of, so it doesn't get boring. And so you can go the same route and get different stories. Yeah.
What's the status for future availability?
Well, we are taking orders right now, and we probably are looking at a delivery this fall for our first.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think a community is going to have an interesting time with it. It'll be interesting to see what kind of reception you get at MBAA in particular, because of course that's going to be a major aspect of the potential market involved. What are you learning right now from surveying potential customers?
We're learning that people have never even thought about something like this. Mm-hmm. We're learning that they don't get it until we really explain it to them and say, no, and in fact, people come to our booth here and they've heard about it, but then they put on the headset, and it's mm-hmm. actually when you put on the headset when you really realize, oh wow, this is telling me stories. They think that it's just a map or just another way of getting movies, but it truly is unique. And we've made sure to get all of our patent protections so that we want to stay unique to do that.
This business R&D stands for rip off and duplicate. So there'll be a lot of people out there going to be looking at that. Because the interesting thing is when we first heard about the concept and saw on the MPI list and got a brief description, kind of scratching our head going, okay, we've seen this before. Yeah. Until you look at the data in the MPI and look at the presentation that you did and went, okay, this is something different. Yeah.
I think what we're also learning is that it's an advantage to be an entertainment company in this industry. Mm-hmm. I'm an outsider. I'm not an engineer. Mm-hmm. I've hired one of the best engineers in the industry, though, to make this, and I mean, he worked at Air Show, and he's had 40 years of experience in this. So, but as an outsider, I find it to be an advantage because people look at me funny and they're like, why are you here? Yeah. And but then they understand once they start to see the product.
Where can people find out more information about this product?
You can go to our website, goji.aero. That's GOJI.AERO.
Okay. .aero. And coming soon to an airframe near you sometime this fall.
That's right.
All righty.
That's right.
We appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this product down the line when you get to a position with a demonstration aircraft. I hope we'll get an invite and get a chance to bring our crews along, take a look at what you're doing in the real world. Sounds like an intriguing idea, but like I said, from watching a number of our friends and commercial operators and what they're trying to do to keep passengers happy in the back, well, anything that upgrades the experience is money in the bank.
I hope so.
There you go. We sure appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 62nd Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Palm Springs, California, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
It's called Airtext Plus. The mobile office is now a true, cost-effective win-win reality because being available and part of the communication chain keeps you in control. Visit us at www.airtext.aero for more information and get started staying in touch today.